The following is a presentation of TFNN. Time to talk about your health. Living a primal lifestyle.
You know, we have Tom from Tampa on the phone. Hey, Tom. Good morning. It's bright and early now, huh?
Hey, Paige. Good. How you guys doing, Nico?
Doing great.
Good. Hey, your newsletter's outstanding, man. I'm telling you, man, it is outstanding. And so is the Primal. I love that stuff. I'd never be without it. I mean, I've been on it now 3-4 months, man. I mean, it's just, I can't get over how good I feel.
Primal Edge is, people are raving about it. People who are trying it, they know because you can feel it.
Would not be without it.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now your hosts, Nico DeHaan and Paige Clark.
Good morning, I'm Nico DeHaan. Welcome to Living a Primal Lifestyle, where we explore a return to a more balanced, natural, wild world.
To recover our natural health and regain our rights and freedoms, I'm Paige Clark. Good morning.
It's a beautiful morning in downtown Clearwater, 67 degrees, going up to about 82 today, and it feels like spring.
It sure does. It's nice to have spring here in Florida. And if you have any questions, you can contact me at paige@tfnn.com.
And Nico at TFNN.com. Of course, we're taking your phone calls at 877-927-6648. Last show we had Dr. Menkoff off.
That was awesome.
Fabulous show. Of course, alternative medicine, and really broke down for us the steps that we need to take to really live in this modern world healthy. And I thought today, I saw this thing that really came down from the World Health Organization and the American Cancer Society, and it really suggests 7 changes that we human beings should make on this planet to lower our cancer risk. And I thought we'd kind of see between the two things that we learned from Dr. Menkoff and what we've really researched this past few years about cancer, and see what the mainstream is saying and why.
Kind of dissect it a little bit like we always do.
Yeah.
Because that's what we like to do. Because, you know, in the United States, cancer rate ranks only second only to heart disease as the leading cause of death and disability. And according to the American Cancer Society, it's estimated that in 2017 there will be 1,688,780 new cases of cancer in the United States, and over 600,000 people will die from the disease. This is staggering features, folks. Just 100 years ago, these statistics were a fraction of what they are today.
Yeah, and I would say that a few thousand years ago, probably less than that. I know in some mummy tombs, we found people with cancer, so they were the seed eaters, the grain eaters also, and we think that's where most of the problems started. But there, of course, as Dr. Menkoff says, a lot of pollutants. Things like that. Maybe years ago they had certain pollutants in certain areas at certain times because of weather changes.
But the body burden has become so huge.
That's the big thing right there.
We were designed to self-cleanse, to detox, that's for sure. And people argue and say, oh, I don't believe in all that detox stuff because that's what we're supposed to do. Yeah, but we were never supposed to live in a toxic soup that we're living in today.
Well, not only that, we have a general consensus of the food industry that it doesn't matter really what we eat because our body's smart enough to take the nutrients out of it, even if there aren't any, apparently. But that's kind of the gist of the whole thing. You go to your doctor and say, well, diet is not really that important, but I know when we go to the vet, the first thing they ask, what did you feed your dog or your cat?
Yeah, and they've always said, like Dr. What's his name? Dr. Wallach, the veterinary, dead doctors don't lie. He always said you're better off being treated by a veterinarian because they're going to really get to more of the root cause.
So these are 7 suggestions that they make to clean up your health.
How to reduce your cancer risk. And as Nico pointed out very astutely, this is something that we all need to pay attention to because the statistics are saying that it's on the increase.
70% increase, they say, in the next decade.
Yeah, so what's going on in that? Are we getting less nutrients and are we getting more toxins? I'll bet so. So let's take a look at this. It's still not completely understood what causes most of them, according to this article.
Yeah, and as we found out with Dr. Menkoff yesterday, and we knew before that in the 1920s and 1930s, I think Dr. Wallach, is that his name?
No, Dr. Otto Warburg.
Warburg.
Yeah, really determined that it was the fermentation that cancer cells are actually your body's attempt to survive a different environment. So it changes to a different type of metabolism to survive. So in effect, cancer is your body's attempt to survive an environment that's not its ideal.
Well, normally what happens, as we discovered, is that the cell naturally dies because its oxygen supply is gone. And as Menkoff said just on the other show, that the ability for that cell to now use the sucrose in a fermenting process so it can run without the oxygen is what is happening in the cancer cell.
And what we see is a reduction in ATP, or adenosine triphosphate, which is the energy currency of our cells.
Mm-hmm.
And in the cancer situation, every one of your mitochondria are producing around 2 to 3 units of ATP. In a normal healthy cell, you're over 36 units of ATP.
Right.
So what we see is a serious energy crisis. So just to kind of go over before we start these few, I guess we got to take a short break.
No, we actually started a couple of minutes late.
We're not going by the counter?
Oh, we might be. I guess we are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so just to kind of highlight, it's still not completely understood why most cancers, but we're going to come back and give you some tips, 7 tips to help you reduce your risk of cancer.
We'll be right back, folks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess we do. You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Are China A-shares hot or not? If you trade China A-shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A-share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A-shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Nico and Paige take your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
Welcome back. And how can you? What are the 7 changes that you can make to reduce your risk of cancer? Before we get into those, Nico, we are reading an article that kind of goes along more the mainstream information line. And there was a comment here. It says, it's still not completely understood what causes most cancers. We know our genes influence risk of cancer and exposure to carcinogens, and they play a role. But again, when you hear these kind of comments, remember there's still this philosophy in the mainstream to go put all the blame on your genes. And we know, in fact, that that is not true, that less than 2% of our diseases are actually caused by our genes. It's epigenetic versus genetic, and it's above or beyond the genes.
Yeah, in other words, we can switch those things on and off
Exactly, like a
because of our
switch.
lifestyle. Yeah, exactly.
And we can do this. And that's what we're all about here, living a primal lifestyle, how to get back to a lifestyle that helps you express your most ideal health.
Yeah.
So, Nico, what's number one?
Number one is maintaining a healthy body weight, and of course that makes a lot of sense. I mean, if you're overweight, then you're putting a real burden on yourself, and your body has a hard time dealing with that on a daily basis because it's kind of in a different mode. It's not in a mode of maintaining and replacing parts and things like that. It's more of a mode of inflammatory.
Inflammation, and that's what it
Yeah.
says. Obesity causes a rise in inflammation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my philosophy on that is when we raise the inflammation or we raise the body fat, we're raising the estrogenic cells because most body fat kind of, estrogen is the hormone
Yeah.
and insulin, it says, to
And
grow.
of course, we know that the toxins always hide in the fat cells too. So usually, and not in all cases, I would say a sumo wrestler, probably a pretty healthy guy. Most of his fat is the fat that's just under the layer,
Subcutaneous.
Yeah, fat instead of the visceral fat.
Yeah.
And they're actually very healthy.
Hard to believe that, but
It is hard
yeah.
to believe that, but it's pretty much a fact. So you can be heavy and healthy, but most of the time here in the United States, that's not the case.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
So how do you do this? So let's give you a couple tips. Avoid the weight gains and be mindful and watchful of the increase in waist circumference.
Okay.
That's really an indication
Yeah.
that insulin and the bad hormones are taking a front seat.
Yeah, pot belly.
And if you're currently overweight or obese, losing even a small amount of weight.
Yeah, 5 to 10%.
5 to 10% can make a huge difference in your overall health.
And that's why when we look at things like, and we're going to talk about physical fitness too as part of this, but when we work people to death like they do on The Biggest Loser.
The Biggest Loser, that show? Yes.
Yeah, and of course, the other thing this morning on the news is one of the trainers who trains these people in these heavy aerobic type of things died of a heart attack just recently, and he's in his 40s or something.
Well, I'm going to bring it back up again. Dr. Joel Wallach did Doctors Don't Lie. He talks about how many extreme athletes,
Right.
get their minerals out of balance and end up having these heart attacks and strokes. Okay, so what's the next one? Make physical activity a part of your everyday life.
Yeah, too little or no exercise is associated with 30 to 40% increase in cancer of the breast, colon, kidneys, pancreas, and uterus. So keeping physically active is an important thing. Again, you don't have to beat yourself to death. Just get on a program. Walking is one of our great things that we're known as.
We were
the
kind of
walking-
designed to do.
Yeah, we're the walking machine. So walking is the natural thing. Running, not so much, but we also have a real talent for running and running long distances if we need to.
But again, that
Doing it
running
every
kind of puts into motion those stress hormones. The body's saying,
It
hey,
starts
there's
to.
something going on. Walking, maybe not so much. So let's kind of dissect this one a little bit. Why do you think there's a 30 to 40% increase in cancers of the breast, colon, kidneys, pancreas, and uterus when you don't move? Well, I'm going to say that I believe that's related to stagnant lymph.
Yeah.
Lymph is
lymphatic
the
system.
garbage
Yep.
system of the body. So if you're not moving it, you're not moving your garbage out, and that creates an
breathing
environment.
exercises alone accomplish this. There are many, many instances where we know that yogas and people who are into yoga use breathing, and they don't do a lot of exercise. They do the yoga.
But the breath moves the lymph.
Exactly.
So right. That's a really great point. So how can you do this to increase this little bit of exercise? Be moderately physically active, at least 150 minutes each week. Okay,
3 hours.
3 hours. And that's like
4
walking.
hours.
That's not about doing strenuous exercise that length of time. We know from intermittent training that you can get a lot of bang for your buck in even smaller amounts of time.
Yeah.
And you want to limit your sedentary habits, such as sitting and lying down and TV watching.
Yeah.
Being on the computer or
And sitting
video
is the
games.
worst. The laying down, not so much. But
Remember, sitting's the new smoking.
it certainly is. And of course, then we
Number
need
3.
we need to reduce foods and beverages that promote weight gain, and they don't really specify much in this except eliminating things like cookies, cakes, pies, ice cream. Of course, that makes sense. Adding, avoid drinks with added sugar, that makes sense, and limit fat food. That makes sense, but they really don't break down that we have protein that we need, 15 to 20%, we're saying these days. And the other two things that we need are the carbs and the fat, and these are the fuels. These are what fuels our body.
Yeah, you get your fuel from the carbs or the fat, and our preference is to start helping you become a better user of the clean-burning fuel of fat.
Yeah, and the other thing is, too, to remember is that carbohydrates are a fast-burning fuel, and our body would rather burn that quickly and get rid of it.
Right.
So it prefers, as a long-range plan, the oil or the fat to burn. And we run into problems. And I think this should be really emphasized in an article like this. And it's not mentioned at all that carbohydrates will put on the weight. Excess protein can put on the weight because they all boost the sucrose. And they...
you mean the glucose in our bodies,
yeah.
right?
And, of course, they use insulin because of the spike of the sugar. And the insulin is the fat storage machine.
I think that's a real big surprise for a lot of people because, again, so many people came back around, well, eat more protein. We want you to eat adequate protein, rather evenly dispersed through the meals that you elected to use. But what we don't want you to do is overeat the protein.
Yeah, and the reason people overeat protein is because they're hungry, and they're hungry because they're
not eating enough fats.
Exactly.
And
you don't get satisfied. You get satisfied very short term with sugar and sucrose and breads and pastas, all these carbohydrates, especially the processed ones, but they don't last long enough for your body. Your body needs sustaining fuel like oil, like fat. And this is what burns. And the rest of the stuff you need when you're escaping or doing something really strenuous or going after food, things like that.
But that's a real good point because a lot of what I consider the performance athletes or, so to speak, the bodybuilders that have had a historical diet of got to eat a lot of protein, and I believe that many of them are overeating their protein.
Well,
I worry about their kidney health.
Remember, their goal is to gain a lot of muscle mass, and that's the only way you can do it.
Unless you're taking perfect aminos like Dr. Minkoff's, where you're getting it pre-digested.
Yeah, that's a pre-digested protein, and it's really no calories. That's the beautiful part about it.
No calories. It's pre-digested. And I mean, I'm really thinking it's a really good choice, particularly as we get older, to use pre-digested protein, amino acids, because you're kind of getting an insurance policy. And am concerned that many people are converting the excess proteins into body fat.
Yeah.
But
and another thing I want to mention, too, with doctors like Dr. Minkoff, who we need desperately, just remember this is wellness for the rich people because most of these alternative sites don't take insurance and they're expensive. Because the doctors have to make a living. The money doesn't go to the insurance companies. It goes strictly to the doctor to support his whole clinic. So it's not cheap to get these treatments done. I want to warn people. But there's a lot of things you can do yourself, and that's what really the show is about. These are things we can do ourselves. Yeah, we can get the expertise from these doctors, but we can go home and do many of these things ourselves.
And that's the neat thing about people like Dr. Minkoff or many integrative practitioners that are becoming the new medicine is that they encourage you to have the new healthcare is self-care.
You got it.
So stay tuned and we'll talk more about that.
Pick up our Health Signals newsletter, folks.
So get out the house.
Would like to tell you about the personal training studio that Nico is the owner and president of, Performance Training. Since 1998, Nico has trained individuals and groups to improve their health both mentally and physically. As a certified personal trainer, Nico's main focus is on demonstrating exercises correctly to avoid injury and teaching his clients how to manage their past injuries while getting the most out of their personal training sessions. The Performance Training Studio is filled with unique training equipment that enhances balanced results at a faster rate while minimizing damage and discomfort. For more information, you can give Nico a call at 727-418-8740 or email him at nico@tfnn.com. Let him know you heard him on TFNN and save up to $100 on a special package just for TFNN listeners. Act today.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video, giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com.
Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen, live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den, absolutely free, for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And welcome back to the show, and we're discussing this article, Doctor's Orders, 7 Changes to Make to Lower Your Cancer Risk. This next one is eat mostly plant food, something I probably don't agree with. I think you can eat as much of the great vegetables and things as you want to, but it's not going to satisfy you as much as some animal food with
well,
great fats.
It's about, this article isn't qualifying whether or not what type of animal food.
Yeah, and here it says, of course, how to do this is have fruit or vegetable with every meal. Again, if you're losing weight, you don't want fruit.
Every meal, you're going to really struggle.
Yeah, and I would say not in the morning. I wouldn't even use vegetables in the morning. I would use that in the afternoon.
Yeah, remember what we learned is that we're not very insulin responsive until after 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
Which is why I think Italians can eat gelato every night.
Probably so, sure. Well, let's remember after a meal, too, and they eat pretty good meals.
Yeah.
Eat more healthy, unprocessed grains and legumes with every meal. Again, these are the foods that we say are not good. We know they're seed-based.
Yeah, we wouldn't be really following this plan. We might say to look for some of the the low glycemic vegetables in combination with the healthy fats.
And it also says here, avoid refined starchy foods such as white flour, sugar, or white rice. Of course, grains are a starch.
Right.
Okay. Legumes are a starch. And they're refined.
So they're kind of an oxymoron contradiction right there.
Yeah, your legumes might not be processed, but grains are highly processed. So you eat your unprocessed grains. How do you eat unprocessed grains? You don't. You can't eat grains raw.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. Number 6, I think it is.
Yeah, limit your alcohol. Alcoholic beverages may increase risks of cancer of the mouth, throat, larynx, and so forth, voice box, esophagus, liver, breast, colon, etc. Simply, especially if you combine it with smoking, it's a double-duty toxin load. And so how can you do this? You can simply choose to abstain, and you can also choose to limit the amount of alcoholic beverages you have. This article suggests men should have no more than 2 alcoholic drinks a day, women no more than 1, and perhaps it's good to skip a certain day or 2 and go to the gym instead.
I think that's probably good.
Yeah, give the liver a little break.
Yeah, I have wine occasionally, and lately we've had it maybe 3 or 4 times a week. That's just a glass of wine with dinner. I notice if I have 2 glasses, then...
your sleep's a little interrupted?
Yeah, a little interrupted, maybe an hour or so less. But if I just stick to one or none, like I did yesterday, no problem.
Sleep is better.
Sleep is better.
Yeah, if you're having trouble with your sleep, take a look at your alcohol, and it doesn't have to be a lot. Many times it's just a little bit too much of a stress for that liver.
Yeah, now the other thing is, too, that alcohol I don't think is bad in itself. I think the quality of the alcohol has to be taken in consideration. So these lot of microbreweries probably are a lot better than, say, Budweiser and Miller and all these ones that are made by one company now.
That's true.
And I think the biggest problem with alcohol is the mixed drinks.
There's certain ones. However, there are certain ones that, according to, like Dave Asprey, he's got this great infographic that shows you which ones don't stimulate the histamine reactions, which ones don't have the sulfates, which ones are actually, have some antibiotic proproperties, like whiskeys.
Yep.
Whiskeys are pretty healthy, actually. Tequila can be really good for you.
Vodka.
I met, my sister used to work at Canyon Ranch Spa, and I met Dr. Mark Limponis. He was Dr. Mark Hyman's partner at Canyon Ranch. So it was Mark Hyman and Limponis were both there, and I had the pleasure of meeting him. Super guy. And he told me that his drink of choice is pure tequila with a little lime squeezed in it. Said that there's unbelievable amounts of polyphenols, or antioxidants, in tequila. So it can be a good drink choice to have. And,
do your own research on this, but I think it's important to know that alcohol itself may not be bad for us. Certainly, you have to limit your quantity. I think that's definitely important. But
very good.
We
very
enjoy
good.
our alcohol.
Yeah. So this article says that we should limit the red meat and avoid processed meat. So maybe let's take a look at. We believe that all meat should be moderate and maybe reduced from what the standard American diet is.
15 to 20%, I think we're talking about.
Certainly avoiding the processed meats.
Yeah, and I think if you have a healthy processed meat, and there's bacon that's healthy, there are sausages that are healthy, but when we talk about factory farm type of stuff, that's a whole different process. But the best meat would be fresh, raw, fish, meat, slightly cooked.
Meats and animal foods that are actually raised in a humane way on their natural diet are going to yield the best results. So that's something to be, considerate of and be watching.
The meme really in the United States is avoid red meat. Do it once a week, maybe once a month, maybe. But, I have red meat probably 2 or 3 times, maybe 4 times a week sometimes, and I feel fantastic.
Yeah.
So it's the source of the meat is much different. Yeah.
I do agree. And here's one, number 7. I think this is an actually crucial thing that we can all do to increase the likelihood of a lifetime of a healthy lifestyle, and that is that women should breastfeed their babies.
Yes.
Absolutely. That is what our babies need, because women who breastfeed their babies reduce their risk of pre- and postmenopausal breast cancer. And that not only do they give their babies a healthier start in life, but they're actually protecting themselves.
Also prevents ovulation, which is important because it can lower
natural birth control.
Natural birth control, sure. If you're breastfeeding for the couple of years, like my mother did me and my sister, then you don't have any risk, very little risk of getting pregnant.
That's exactly right.
So this is our natural way of doing things, and we've gotten away from that, and we even shun it sometimes when we see that out in the open.
I think that's really changing. There's a real big move towards that. I certainly know that I was very open with my breastfeeding, really loved it. In fact, felt very powerful breastfeeding. Nothing like the feeling of knowing that your body is helping to sustain the life of another.
It's such a wholesome thing, and it's so wholesome to see it, I think. I mean, then you know that you really care about your child.
Yeah, absolutely. And it actually lowers a woman's lifetime exposure to estrogen because the progesterone and everything is very high during breast milk production.
A lot of the problems that women may have later in life stem from maybe not breastfeeding, taking things like birth control pills. Yeah,
they have had that onslaught of that artificial estrogen, and they never got that peak rise in progesterone, which you get with a pregnancy. Because it's really actually, a lot of people think estrogen is the female hormone. It's progesterone that's the female beautifying hormone. When a woman's pregnant, the progesterone levels are high, maintain the pregnancy, she glows. Estrogen is the unisex stress hormone in my book. When estrogen levels are high, you see stress. So, very good. So it says here women should breastfeed exclusively for at least 6 months. Well, we know from what I've learned from Dr. Marshall that the ideal time is 18 to 24 months, exclusively.
Yeah, I think so. It makes more sense.
Yeah.
It's better for the baby. It's better for the mother. It's better for our society.
So in closing, we may not be able to completely avoid cancer, but the more we take active steps to prevent the disease, the greater chance we have of reducing our risks and those of the risks of our loved ones. And knowing that we are actually powerful, full of power to prevent the things that we may be exposed to.
Yeah. Folks, please pick up my Health Signal newsletter. In current copy, I have an article here, Your Emotions Regulate Your Genetic Expression. And as we found out through our series of shows
What you
recently,
think about, you bring about.
Yeah, what you think about, you bring about. And this is really a way to be healthy just from your own emotions, how to keep yourself in
Because as
check.
we just said,
Really
genes can be changed in response to nutrition, as we just talked about, but they can truly be affected by both what we think. So be careful what you're thinking. All of your cells are listening.
It's only $10 a month, 2 issues, so $5 a piece. We also have our Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. Please pick that up, $89. It brings it to your door every single month.
Be right back.
You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Test drive all the newsletters for free at TFNN.com.
Welcome back. Are you feeling lucky today? What are the 21 things that lucky people do differently? The Huffington Post tells us all about it, because there truly are things that people do. And you wrote an article that we're going to be sharing on Healthy Fit Club about how you viewed your father and his attitude of
Powerful
gratitude for
story.
being lucky. So I hope you'll put that in the newsletter, right?
It's going into the newsletter, and reading this article kind of brought it to mind for me. And my dad had this saying, "How can I be that lucky?" And
How can I be that lucky?
Yeah, and he always carried it with me, and it's a powerful story. He died in 1990, and I was working with Waste Management at that time. They were sending me to training, and one of the things that we had to do was come up with a 15-minute little talk about something that inspired you. And my dad had just died a few months earlier than that, and this was a story that he told at the dinner table about 4 or 5 months before he died, how lucky he was. And that's what the story is about. It's a very powerful thing.
And how he thought about how lucky he was, and as because of that, he attracted it.
Yes.
He attracted being lucky.
And that's what happens, what you think about.
You bring about.
Exactly.
I really love that article. I know you guys will get it subscribed to the newsletter. Will enjoy it too.
And so lucky people do things a little bit differently, and they work a little bit differently. And I thought we'd bring this to you because it's a powerful thing to feel lucky all the time.
Yeah, that's a really great thing, to put yourself in that mindset of everything's going my way. I am in the flow. Yeah. So what do they do? Here are some of the reasons why some people get lucky in life. Lucky people, what do? They work hard quietly. They don't boast or toast or celebrate. They do. They just get her done, right?
Toiling away.
Yeah, they don't announce it on Facebook or tweet about it on Twitter. They just go ahead and get busy. I like that.
That's true. They just surround themselves with positive people who build them up and not tear them down. Life is hard enough as it is without having to worry about negative people slowing you down. And you definitely do see this in our society. A lot of negative stuff. We saw this in the last couple of years of the politics that's happening. A lot of negative stuff. And that moves people. But I really do believe it moves people in the wrong direction.
True. And that coherence initiative is actually proving that when we think good thoughts and loving thoughts, we can create love in this world. When we think about the negative things, that's what we create. Put positive seeds into their minds every single day.
And that's kind of what my dad had with his little saying, can I be that lucky? You know, when he asked himself that question, I think it's important to frame things with questions too. How can I improve? How can I change this so it's advantageous to me? These are the kind of things I always think of when something negative impacts me, or something I really don't like, or something stupid that I did and now I need to change. I take that and say, okay, what can I learn from this?
Yeah, so it says here that lucky people really overcome their limitations by setting their mindset. And they have certain rituals. It might be a morning run, or just gazing while you sip on a cup of coffee, or prayer. All of these things, simply walking their dog, creating some space. They create these rituals to allow for themselves to feel focused.
Fight the overthinking mind every day. Yeah, that's a real thing. When you have something that happens to you and all of a sudden you start thinking, well, I can do this, I can do that. And it just clouds the mind and you're thinking about it instead of making a decision. You know, maybe when my dad taught me one thing, you write down the things, all the advantages. Then you put a line down and the other side you write the disadvantages. And you can say which outweighs the other. It gives you a nice way.
But when you got it in your head, it's just jumbled up.
A lot of times.
And many times if you get it down to paper, you're able to be a little more objective.
Yeah,
but that ruminating mind can create a lot of stress and really, affect your health.
Right.
Yeah. So you can have a clearer purpose. Lucky people have a crystal clear objective, either to provide for their children more than they had when they were growing up, or whatever the cause is. These lucky people have this magnetic attraction to helping them achieve their goals and drawing into them what they want.
In the book Stephen Covey wrote, The 7 Habits of Highly Intelligent People, or effective people. One of the things he had you do was write a little story. Okay, you're dead and people are gathering around for the funeral. And what do you want those people to say about you?
Right.
And then frame your life around those.
Become what you want to become by visualizing yourself.
He's a very honest person. He's a person you can count on, very creative. These are the types of things you would want people to say about you, and, empower yourself to be that person.
Become what you want to be. That's a really great idea.
Stuff.
Accept your imperfections. They don't say, it's not a good time right now, but they do say it's always a good time right here and now. difference in perspective. They take imperfect action. That's something I've always struggled with. I tend to procrastinate things because I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can do it quite right yet.
Yeah.
But they actually move forward by just getting it done, and then later they can come back and revise it.
Yeah. Well, it's like having a picture of yourself, and you look at it, and you look at all the imperfections in it. When somebody else is looking at that picture, they're looking at your eyes and your smile,
and they notice the good things,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah, not the wrinkles.
Yeah. So think not like yourself, but think like somebody else is looking at you in a way. I think that's important. Accept the imperfections. That's what you just said.
Yeah.
So they don't gossip or pay attention to the critics. Boy, we need that today.
Sure enough. Yeah, that's for sure. Lucky people don't get distracted by the naysayers, the doubters, and the haters. They don't allow the negativity to enter their mind. They keep their minds full of positive things.
Yeah, and that's, boy, during this political season, it seems so easy to be trapped into, did you hear what they said? Did you hear what they said? And
But that's all by design. I think all of this conquer and divide stuff that we're seeing is... There is a force that wants this division and this negative thinking because it allows different agendas to take place.
Well, it's kind of our whole society is based on that. This modern lifestyle is not our natural lifestyle, and so it promotes all these negative different things to keep it going.
Good point. This is interesting. They feel more than they think. They often are driven by emotion and passion about their endeavor versus, tight analytical types of things. Thinking is important, but often we let our minds drive us forward. And when we face difficult circumstances, we're conflicted between what we think and what we feel. Lucky people seem to lead from the heart and not the head.
Yeah, it's a thing. The mind is a powerful thing, and we have this ability to think and to know that we're this being where a dog looks in the mirror and maybe he sees a dog and doesn't say, well, this is me. Because maybe he does. I don't know. We don't know those things, but we certainly can. We go look in the mirror. This is me. I'm this person, and we are always thinking and thinking. And I know one of the great teachers of life, Krishnamurti from India, always said the thinking machine is great for memory and having these things, but not so great at being the person that you want to be. It's a trap. It always wants to protect itself. So the protection is, don't hurt me.
Right.
And that's the mind thinking.
Don't overthink it.
Don't overthink it. So be in the moment.
Just because you thunk it, you don't need to think it.
Yeah, well, this is why the most powerful thing in the world is that meditation again, where you're clearing your mind, not thinking about things, listening to your breath, and letting things happen, and then feeling those things.
Yeah, and I think this is cool, too. They focus on the goal and not the plan. Plans can change. You can take a left or a right or a circle, a 360 or 180, whatever. But
they better change.
Because chaos can interrupt the best laid plans.
And some of the chaos might be good for it.
It might bring you down to another turn that might
so
even
let's
be
continue
better.
with this after the break, folks. Stick around. The number here is 877-927-6648. Pick up the Primal Edge, our newsletter, and Paige and I'll be right back.
Be right back.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge, heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
TFNN has just launched a special event in Tampa with Tom O'Brien taking place March 18th, sponsored by Nadex. Tom O'Brien will be presenting 2 workshops for a combined 2.5 hours of education, bisecting and dissecting his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System. March 18th kicks off with a continental breakfast as we get everyone checked in, and that is followed by 2 75-minute workshops with Tom O'Brien. The first workshop from 8:45 until 10 a.m. will cover quality volume, cause and effect, and ABC structures, and the second workshop from 10:15 until 11:30 a.m. will cover swing points, testing, and the Tiger Gartley. Tom will then wrap things up with a question and answer session, which will be followed by a Tiger Luncheon Social on the rooftop of the Westin Hotel. The best part is that it's all free, but you must register to attend. Visit the front page of TFNN.com for all the details and to sign up today, and we hope to see you in Tampa on March 18th.
No matter where you're listening to TFNN programming, you can always access your favorite shows on demand through TFNN.com. TFNN airs live programming every market day from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern, and you can view each program by accessing Tiger TV through our homepage. We even have an easy link for all mobile devices, including iPhones, iPads, and Android devices, located in the top right-hand corner of the TFNN homepage. You can use your smartphone to view Tiger TV, but if you don't have a connection that can keep up with streaming live video, then you can simply visit TFNN.mobi in the browser of your smartphone for live streaming audio of all our programs. The mission of TFNN is to educate our audience directly and interactively through our interactive website and call-in talk shows. TFNN is able to teach all levels of investors the technical skills needed to trade in today's marketplace. In order to get the best information possible, TFNN has assembled the most respected financial minds in the country to provide the most current news and comprehensive advice available. TFNN.com. Educating investors. Join John Logan as he teaches you trading techniques utilizing the TAS Profile Scanner. The Global Market Pulse, next on TFNN.
And welcome back, folks. You feel lucky?
I feel lucky.
In my next newsletter, I got a little commentary about the thing my dad taught me about lucky. But we're really going over this article about this 21 things lucky people do differently than people who aren't so lucky.
They take lots of action.
Yeah, they take lots of action. They really believe in themselves. They get hurt by setbacks and failures just like everybody else, but they just keep on going.
Yeah, they just get up and go again.
Yeah, I call that shedding the skin, like a snake sheds its skin every once in a while to allow it to grow. I shed my skin to change into the person that I want to be. When I started jiu-jitsu, I said, okay, I'm taking off my lazy little skin, and I'm going to put on my jiu-jitsu skin.
And just like that.
And just like that, it starts 10 years later, here we are. This is a very powerful strategy to just change your mind on things. I think it's an important thing. You know, we're curious people. We believe in ourselves. We know that success is really never a straight line. There's a lot of curves, there's a lot of bumps, and it's like that road. You go to the fork in the road and you decide on taking one road. Maybe it's the path that's not so frequently taken by the path might be a little bit smaller. For me, that means adventure. And I love adventure.
And when you said that, adventure, here's this one. Lucky people are open to meeting anyone, anytime, talking openly to anyone who will listen to their ideas. Lucky people smile and engage, and they open up their minds to chance meetings with strangers where one thing can lead to another. We call that serendipity. You know, things just sort of fall into place.
Yeah, it's so nice when things like that happen.
I mean, let me just tell you a little story from this weekend. While I was up in Asheville for my daughter's birthday, anyone who knows me knows that I love Appalachia, Blue Ridge Mountain.
Yeah.
From there originally, want to get back there, keep strategizing or visualizing myself living there, even part-time. So sure enough, I'm there with my daughter. We're having lunch, and there's this woman about my age down the bar from us, and we ended up kind of recruiting her into our group. Next thing I know, she owns property and has been accumulating property, and we ended up becoming friends. We were trying to meet up. We had some bad weather, things didn't work out, but we've been texting and emailing, and she's like, why don't you come up? I'll be glad to help show you around, and I know people that you know, own land and maybe looking to sell it, and who knows what can happen. But that's the same kind of feeling I get. How lucky was I that I met this gal, you know?
Pretty cool.
Yeah,
pretty
cool stuff.
Notice in the chat room they're talking about NASA to launch a solar probe plus mission to the surface of the sun to protect Earth from
a huge solar event.
Yeah. Of course, maybe talking about the grand solar minimum, where we get lots of cosmic rays.
We've been talking about that a lot on the show, guys. If you're in the chat room, we talk about the grand solar minimum and sun activity. Yeah, so the sun is having less spots on it, but that means that our atmosphere is actually shrinking a little bit, less protection, so the cosmic rays are a lot higher. And we see that through different illnesses. Some of the stuff I've been reading just in the last week, most of the plagues on Earth are tied to grand solar minimum. That's important, folks.
Big diseases. So if you're not healthy and you're going into a grand solar minimum where your added stress now is all this stuff from space that is not being protected by our atmosphere, then that's just another thing to put you under that inflammation stress.
So what you're saying is like the Great Plague. This was a period of grand solar minimum. Yeah. This was a cold time. Yeah. The Dark Ages were. The Dark Ages were a grand solar minimum. The Roman Empire. Fall of the Roman Empire?
Yep. All the dynasties of the Japanese and Chinese dynasties fell during solar minimums. And if you go start looking at like the Dark Ages, the 1300s, 1600s, not only were there a lot more volcanoes active, because that's the sun triggers that also, we're getting a lot of problems, and we're going into this in the next decade where we're going to start seeing this accelerate, and this is the current thinking. So I think it's important to do your own research, just like they're doing in the chat room there.
That's right. Well, that's it for our show today, and we hope you all have a great week.
Thanks for sticking around, folks. Really appreciate it. And my new newsletter is coming out next week.
Good stuff.
Really good article in there too. So pick that up, please. We'll be right back on the next show.
Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns, as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman Wave sequence. Using the Chapman Wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his opening call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the opening call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.
You're watching Tiger TV.